Okay, we got Chip Higgins from BizX. I was just checking out your website as well earlier. Very interesting setup that you have. How is it going so far, and when did you start?
I actually started BizX in 19, and
Wow.
I'd been in banking my whole career, and really had an urge to help small business owners in a different way, and started up just as a general coaching practice. And I guess I was about 6 months into it, maybe COVID hit, everything kind of stopped, and I was, I wasn't in banking at the time, so I was spending a lot of time with people, just kind of casually helping them navigate the whole PPP funding process. I mean, that was
That's
pretty much
right. I do remember that in COVID. It was basically like the government was giving small businesses money to make sure that they didn't go out of business. So it was like paying salary, paying whatever
yeah,
you wanted, as long as it
yeah,
was an approved.
yeah.
It was
There,
free
there
money.
were there were disaster loans, but that program was really about making payroll to keep people, where they weren't losing their houses and all that kind of stuff. I kept scratching and clawing, trying to find the growth. I just feel like in every problem and disappointment, there's places where people are growing, and there must be some growth-minded people out here somewhere that are trying to take advantage of this opportunity. I don't know, things just continued on, and I got to the fall. We still didn't have a vaccine, we didn't have anything, and started getting some calls from the banking industry. So I kind of paused it for a few years. That's all that's like. I started in 19, but paused for about 3 years. But in the middle
Wow.
of that, I really got inspired to write a book. I kept thinking about my experience when I was marketing, and when you're dealing with small business owners, you've got to have something scalable. It's not a boutique one-on-one kind of relationship there. So I wrote the book, and that came out in April of 24, and it's done very well. I think I got 5 Amazon #1 bestseller rankings.
Nice.
Continue to get great feedback on the book. It sounds complicated that it's the physics of business, but honestly, my main goal in it was making it very understandable and accessible for people that we see all physics every day, without it being complicated. So I just felt like there was an opportunity to see businesses in that way. And then I guess it was early last year, probably maybe February or March, I started working with this company on
Chip, can you hold one
a
second, please? I'll edit this out. I'm hearing something in the back. I heard my daughter screaming, and
oh no.
it's like just playing a game. So I told her, stop screaming like that.
Sometimes it's hard to
What's going
tell.
Yeah. Anyway, she was playing
Yeah.
a video game or whatever. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're back in April 24, released a book. Things started
book
picking
came
up.
out. It was going well. I was doing a little bit of speaking, but I was still kind of obsessed with this scalability problem for small business owners. They have the book. The book has a QR code that takes you to a number of planning tools. There's probably 20 or 25 planning tools in there. Still just had this feeling of how do you really connect people to the book in a scale, kind of a scaled operation. So I started working with this company in Austin, Texas, and we developed a AI agent for the book. It's a small language model. They've got my book. They've got all the articles I've written. There are a number of things that I've licensed, including the tools that I use. So that's been really the amazing part of the journey, is building that out and just seeing what it does for people, the way people react to it. I mean, it's been a very exciting time on that. But
That's actually really helpful, because the way I envision that working is you feed all of this data to an LLM model. For example, I like Gemini Pro. So I would feed that as a very large context model. And then you would build a wrapper in front of it, meaning there's some kind of a front end where users would interact. And that's usually an app. And so they can ask questions, they can speak to it. And then you basically have a PhD level understanding of this book in your app, like in front of you. And so anytime you converse with it, it'll tell you exactly, what the context of the book was, what it's trying to teach you, what the answer is. And then you can monetize that for sure.
yeah.
Where are you in that journey? Is it available on your website?
It is, yeah. It's on there's a section called BizX. It's called BizX on Demand, is what I branded it.
I did see that. Okay, got
And
it.
so, yeah, and it's, again, I mean, I've learned so much about AI at my age. I never thought I'd be learning the things I'm learning, but, it's like, that it's a PhD level expert in everything that you've written, immediate response, and even it's got a paperclip function. So, if you're a business owner, you see something that you're curious about, how it affects your business or whatever, like, you feed it up and it's ready to go. I mean, as soon as it's uploaded, I mean, it's ready to talk about it. But
That's
my
great.
point is, 24/7, unlimited access, and it never gets tired. I think that's
Exactly.
coming from the banking industry when.
And it never makes a mistake. It's like, people can come ask you, Chip, about those same questions, and you might have to ponder a little bit, going, wait,
Let's not get
what was
into
I
that.
saying now? Yeah, what chapter was it in? But then AI is like
Talk
better
to
than
my
you.
talk to
Yeah,
my man BizX on demand back here.
exactly. Exactly. That's where the landscape is moving.
Yeah.
The
So
access
it's
of information is so much easier now. It's just it generates it on demand, and
right.
it's tailored to the exact problem that you have.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
I'm trying
that's
to.
one.
I think my biggest obstacle has just been, I spoke last week at an event, and it wasn't on that necessarily, but at the end, I was just, talking about all these breakthroughs that are helpful in AI, and I just feel like there's so many different things out there about AI and about data integrity, and whether ChatGPT has it right. The hardest part's been explaining that. When you have a small model like that, it's right all the time. I mean, you're basically contextualizing your business experience into the book, where it's asking you wants you to kind of self-discover about where you are within the principles. I don't know. There might be a place where there'd be a wrong answer, but it's really about you finding the answer within yourself. You know the business better than anybody.
Right.
The question, it's trained for good questioning, and I don't take financial. I don't do financial analysis. I don't give legal advice.
Okay. Okay.
There are
Perfect.
things
Yeah.
I stay out of it. But what I'm trying to get is a really great mindset toward forward momentum in your business and all the pieces that come together to make that happen. So that's kind of my journey, and it's an exciting time. It's a little frustrating time too. I'll be honest. Right now, I did not expect. I kind of had the sense like everybody and their brothers using ChatGPT, and I found that that's not the case. And I think that my wife tells me it's kind of like back before. We're kind of late adopters, I think. And, a lot of people had cell phones, and we didn't have cell phones. And then all of a sudden,
Okay.
you see enough mass that it's safe, and you're going to do it, and everybody's got a cell phone. So I'm kind of patient on that I think it will evolve over time, and I'm already seeing more, over the last probably 3 months of people that, even in banking, that are saying, okay, it's time for AI applications to, quality of experience, knowledge base,
That's
you
right.
basically don't worry about people being experts anymore. The information is right there. So I'm hopeful about that.
You brought up a really good point that the folks that are inside AI right now, we're following the news. It seems like everybody has AI and everybody's there, and it's like you're challenging each other. But really, it's very different, where we're just in the small bubble of folks that are comfortable with AI, and then everybody else who's like, what is this thing? This nebulous idea. And so there's the business model there is if you share ChatGPT, like the prompt, with somebody, it's very easy to understand, right? They just type it in, they get an answer, and they're like,
Right,
amazing.
right.
But then the challenge becomes, how do I use this tech to increase revenue in my business? And sometimes that's a gap that entrepreneurs have a difficulty going over, especially if they're older or they're just not tech savvy. They don't know how to implement. But if you tell them, look, this thing is extremely smart, not only that, it can now start answering all your phone calls. So you no longer have to answer your phone. And they're like, wait, what do you mean? How can it do that?
Yeah.
Well, let me show you. Call this number, and then an AI agent picks up, and then it sells them on their own product.
Right.
And then it's like, that's the rubber meeting the road, and then you can start monetizing on that, and then it's
And I haven't, I see a lot of agentic kind of stuff on, client experience, and I haven't really gotten into that. I feel like I'm speaking a lot on it, trying to build awareness. I'm doing a lot of workshops with it, and I think even writing prompts. I found that when I first started doing workshops, I just say, show up with your problem. And I was like,
right.
tell them, we're gonna have a focus on leadership or whatever it is, and then I've got 6 great get started prompts, and I think once they feel the kind of conversational nature of it, everything flows from there. It's just like you're talking to someone that's known you for a long time.
Let's talk about the process. So if there's a business out there that's looking for leadership type coaching, how do they sign up with you? What does that format look like?
Yeah, so there's 2 ways. In addition to my experience in the banking industry, back in 2011, I enrolled as a founding member of the John Maxwell teams.
Nice.
I've been teaching. There's a set of titles that I'm licensed to teach, and I've read a lot more of John's books than I'm licensed to teach. But I just find that he's a great mentor. I think in some ways he inspired my book because he showed me how making things simple and accessible can be a very powerful thing. So for me, there are a few ways. One, I still thoroughly enjoy one-on-one coaching. I found that for the market that I'm inspired to serve, that model is often too expensive for people to pursue. It's like, you get into $1,000 to $2,000 a month over an extended period of time. It's a huge commitment.
Yes.
So I'm always looking for that. And what I find with the agent in that model, it's a beautiful companion to regular meetings. It's like when you have a meeting with the coach and your mind starts racing about I'm kind of clarifying this issue and now I need to go do something about it. It's like you have unlimited access between meetings for a very modest monthly subscription. So that works really well. But there's also particularly in the leadership realm, what I do with BizX in that respect is just kind of docent the BizX way for them. So it's like a 10-week coaching experience. We're working one-on-one, face-to-face on all the concepts in the book, and I'm able to challenge them personally, but there's always that, BizX in the background.
I see. So there's like the BizX curriculum essentially over 10 weeks.
It just basically goes chapter by chapter, and the book starts with energy, which underlies everything in momentum. If you don't have energy, and I think it's a new way of thinking about energy, and I think a lot of times in the popular just kind of business book market, it's about being positive, and positivity is a big part of energy. But for business, it's really a vibrational field about your vision and how meaningful that vision is and how committed to it that you are, that creates that vibration. It's kind of like the vibration on the surface of the sun. It's like that's where it. So we get into a lot of that, and things that are kind of, to me, standard, almost check the box types of things on getting ready to be in business and writing a business plan. It's like, what's your, have you written a vision, mission statement? People write it. It's got a different context, when you start to understand it's not just something you're writing, like it's going to decide whether you make it or not, because if you run out of gas,
you will run out of gas.
Yeah. Right.
And especially if you're having difficulty writing a mission statement, you got to get to like revenue quickly. And that's the key, right?
This is all the work. It's like, to me, I've been on a few other podcasts, and people have talked about side gig stuff, and like when I can't overemphasize how important that is, that you do side gig it for a while to get these very basics down. You can't
proof of concept, minimum viable product,
all of it. And when you're ready to take the risk and really go for the revenue, you're motivated. It works. You know what the values are. You know how to translate all that energy to other people, so they're energized about it too. It's a steady process. I love Gerber's E-Myth book. It's kind of like so many businesses are started in the heat of the moment. It's like,
right.
I hate my boss.
Sure.
I know how to lay cable and bears.
You identify a problem and then you're like, hey, I can do this. Right.
And when they start working with me instead of him, it's like, it's going to be lights out, and you know that it's a lot more than that. So
it is.
Yeah. So that's kind of that's what I describe as following the business way, is just kind of following through the book and making sure this equation that works for us in the physical world works for us in business. And then the other thing that I enjoy doing, I still do training on a number of John Maxwell titles, and that's more of a group dynamic that.
That's nice.
I say it's training. I mean, I really enjoy a mastermind approach to it. I don't like fire hosing people in a one-day session and then walking out.
Right, slide after slide after slide.
Yeah.
Like, what am I learning here?
Yeah, I mean, I would rather say, can you give me, instead of a whole day, can you give me 45, 60 minutes a week for 8 weeks? And let's have a group. Let's kind of chop all this up, come to an understanding of the concept, but more importantly, make a commitment to yourself that there's something you're going to do differently as a result of what you're learning. So I just totally believe in the mastermind concept. I mean, it works over and over again, and I think that the communal support of it, of people being in it together and kind of working toward the same goal, whether they're all in the same company or it's a cohort of just business leaders, it's to me, it's more powerful than individual coaching.
It is. I'd like to pick your brain on a specific problem that you solved recently or in the past. So the way I approach this is, let's say there's a business that needs some kind of help, right? We want to focus on the root cause of that problem. So we want to dive deep down into what is causing that problem, and then we extrapolate on that and then ultimately come up with a solution. Meanwhile, we're learning all of these different concepts and like the umbrella. So we're starting from the bottom and then we're working our way out into like larger terms and concepts, as opposed to the flip side, which is sort of like the academic model of, let me teach you all these high level objectives and then drill down on each one of them so that you can apply it whenever you think it's necessary. So what is your model in that case? And then what's a good example of that happening recently? Like, what's a good problem that you solve for a business?
I really like to follow the coaching, and I think the coaching model is very much aligned to what you're saying versus an academic model, because I mean, and again, this is how I've trained the agent to behave with people, is that there's got to be clarity around what the problem or opportunity is before you can move forward. And if you don't understand, like there are things that might be just annoying, and then there are things that are they're annoying, but you start to see this kind of spider web of impact. You start to appreciate the magnitude of the problem and where it's showing up. And then we really start getting into what have you tried? I mean, what have you tried so far? What is standing out to you as a potential solution? And I think that's where the broader context comes in, because I think that a lot of people are out of their own ideas at the point of coaching. You know, it's kind of like they've tried the marketing thing of the month and it's not working. You know, it's like there's something. And so that's where, either through self-discovery of saying, well, you know, this is a emerging field in business that you ought to do some research on, or here are some things that I recommend that you consider. You start broadening the field of vision about the opportunity, come back to what are you thinking about as a solution. And this is a critical part for me in coaching, is just kind of what I call the ripple effect tool. It's kind of the final checkpoint before jumping off on a change in something you're doing, is if you were to make that change, how would it affect every part of your business? And just kind of systematically going through revenue to culture to like what people that may leave the company over it, people that so it's kind of like you're assessing, it's almost like you're doing a risk assessment to it before so that's my approach. And I do think that people, and especially in this information age that we're in, people get exhausted with big picture ideas without like some harmony with the person around. This is what I'm struggling with. This is how this is presenting to me. And we don't want exhausted people when we're trying to make changes. It just doesn't work. So I think we get to a point where there's a human intellectual understanding between people about the issue, but there's also an emerging heart bond and empathy around what's happening. It gives energy toward the change, that this is a system that I can work in. So I think that's fundamental to the way I think, and I think it sounds.
I think that's really good. Yeah, I think you hit on a really good point of people need to connect with their coach, right? And oftentimes that's based on expertise, certifications. Has the market accepted you as the subject matter expert here so that I can learn from somebody? And of course, there's a value attached to that, and that's how you charge them, or there's a compensation package to that. So what is it?
And that's something. I mean, if I could say something there that is totally ICF boilerplate, is just the best coaches are not necessarily the people that have swagger in the market that they did something.
Sure.
You can make so many mistakes following a path that someone else followed with great advice and kind of inner work about what the problem is, what solution could they execute on, I mean, all that type of thing. And you're kind of looking at their results and thinking, well, I'm just going to do that. What we want to guide people to is the best of themselves in the situation. And I think that's where great coaching comes into play, is like, does this resonate with your value system? Do you have experience with it? How will you feel when this happens? I think that there's so much to really good coaching that is beyond like somebody's just kind of status in the market as a subject matter expert, because again, I feel like expertise now is so accessible. I've learned this in my book. It scares me with my book, honestly. It's like how many great ideas could you get, but how many people are willing to craft an idea to your situation and go, that's the one. I think that. Right.
I see.
Yeah.
Right. So your focus is more on the person themselves, not necessarily the business. Because if you can enhance the person to react and respond in certain situations in a better, more comprehensive way, then those will translate into the business.
Let's say I deal with kind of emerging 1 to 5 year old businesses is my sweet spot. They have a limited employee base, so a lot of times the business and the owner are the same thing, but
Yes.
Every business is a set of leaders, and if they don't have that kind of coaching, in other words, maybe a good example would be if every leader in the business behaved like a CEO of the business, it probably wouldn't go very far.
No, yeah, too many chefs in the kitchen is not going to work. You need one
And
chef.
just kind of styles. I mean, connecting with people. I think the CEOs are, not disparaging them. I feel like they're great in a group of people for a period of time, but is that the person that's going to have an ongoing one-on-one relationship with someone who's critical to success? It's just like they got a
Right,
full
probably
plate
not.
of opportunities and that type of things. Anyway, I do think leadership and success is kind of an inside-out job, and I don't mean necessarily fixing people that they've got attitude problems or whatever, but I just think that we'll always operate the best from our strengths, and we'll always operate the best from a place of authenticity. So, if you were struggling with sales and revenue growth, and you started following somebody that was kind of a tape the phone to your head till you bring me X number of deals by the end of the day, and that's totally contrary to your nature, it's not going to work.
Right.
There's other ways of being successful in sales besides,
Cold calling nonstop. Yeah.
there are sales dynamics, that are not conducive to that. I mean, there are times when selling in banking is a multi-year proposition. I mean, if you call on someone the first time and get a deal, like you're kind of queasy going back to the bank, like, what did I miss?
Yeah, exactly.
You're here to borrow money, it's the kind of thing.
Exactly.
So that, and then I know you asked me about example, and this example I give this to people all the time, and I think it's indicative of the need to assess momentum levers. Could come at any time in your business. It's not the startup necessarily. It's not the person that has proof of concept and they're just struggling to get it rolling down the tracks. I mean, I think there are times when businesses plateau and they're trying to figure out that next generation, where they're going from 3 million to 10 million, and feeling kind of stuck about, well, I had this one brilliant idea that's taken me to 3 million. Now what do I do? It's like you think it's all, I need scaling tools. It's not. I mean, there's a lot of thought that goes into it, and so I had a situation that the more I got into it, it just totally surprised me. It was a 40-year-old company.
Okay.
I'd spoken at an event, and the owner came up to me afterwards. He's like, I really enjoy leading my company around books. There's been a number of books that I've taken and just said, hey, we're going to work through this book together. He said, I love this. Like, we need to do it. And he's like, I want to catch up with you, and we'll figure something to work on. So anyway, what it ended up being was he was 40 years in business, had done very well. He actually, had a couple of side businesses pop up out of it.
What kind of business was it? Can you tell us?
He's in telecom. Very applied telecom.
Yeah.
But he had never written a mission statement in all that time.
A lot of people don't.
A lot of people don't. I mean,
yeah.
But now, at this point, he's up to 12 people, and he's got something going that I think that he sensed he's correct. It's kind of an integrated marketing telephony, that could go in a lot of different directions. So he's like, after reading the book, I kind of get this whole thing about energy, and we really need this. We've got to get this pinned down. So, we ended up doing an offsite in that one. And, the different things that played a part in that were very basic, but again, you ignore them in the pursuit of like, I need to hit revenue numbers or whatever, but, just starting with the SWOT and, self-defining, like, who are we? Who have we helped? How have we helped them? And they walked out. They were so pleased with what they did together. That connection among people there, that they kind of collaborated on it. And I just love that one, because I'm like, how do you? It's a great sign of leadership in many ways that just your presence and energy towards something can override a written mission statement. But at the same time, you really need one to guide the company and maybe some different directions that are not really focused on a particular industry or whatever's brought you there. Like, you could fix the company with a broader.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So they now have a mission statement?
Yeah.
I would assume if we go on their website, we'll see one.
And he's a great guy. He lives fairly close to me, so I see him around from time to time. But
good.
That's one of my favorite ones. And I continue to work with people on leadership things. Just the way they look at the world is the way they should be looking at it as a leader is very different than what they thought when they were looking at leaders.
Do you take like before and after surveys? I think that would be really cool. Do you? Let me ask you that first.
I have not. I do with the agent.
I'm curious now because you mentioned, they sort of have their ducks in a row from an organizational aspect, right? You'll have a mission statement, vision statement, and they'll say all sorts of cool things like we drive to strive to survive to, blah, 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 blah. And hopefully they make more money out of that. But it's like, how do we get the people within the company who may have a general understanding before you showed up of like what we do, how do we deliver it, what's our point of being here, to afterwards? And if you took maybe like did like a survey in the beginning of just ask random people like,
that's a great idea.
What do you do here? And then where do you think this company is going to be in 2 years? And then just record those answers. And then after your seminar, then you'll have like these pristine answers of like, I know exactly what my statement is. And then you could take that into your reputation management and share that with folks, and your AI agent can tell people
awesome.
Like,
thank you for
Chip
that.
came in and did all these cool
You're
things.
helping me today. Yeah, I appreciate that.
No, I know you threw that out there, and I was like, that would be really cool because then you could show metrics, right? And like actual metrics, like 30% of the company knew what they were doing. When I left, 95% of the company knew what they were doing, and that kind of stuff. And people
and
would
even, I think one that I enjoy is just coaching people on the importance of onboarding and that's
onboarding, like new employees or like new customers.
Well, both. I mean, my book is, there's a big part in it about connection when you get to mass, that most of mass is in the nucleus of anything, but there's also a bonding part to mass that's really important. But I think for employees primarily, have we shared it, when you go to the links to have an inspiring, well-worded mission statement, are you helping people bond to that immediately when they join, or are you taking them to their desk and giving them a password? I mean, I feel like the best companies do a superior job at not onboarding into policies and procedures, but onboarding people into the environment of what you're trying to create in the world.
I know Amazon has a big one. It's like you have to know their tenants or principals. I can't remember what they call them. And it's like this. There's a
guy here in town that I loved what he did because he went back and read every shareholder letter that Jeff Bezos wrote. And he pulled out like the 10 overriding Amazon principles or something like that. And he wrote a book, had great success with it. But Amazon.
There you go.
I admire companies so much. Like people that start a company in their garage and end up being, multi-billion-dollar player in the world. I just have so much admiration that they did it right on the front end. I talk about Spanx a lot in my book. And Sarah Blakely is one that.
That's right.
I think she really had that front end correct on, the change that she was trying to make in the world. You see it pay dividends. I think that people can hang on a lot longer as CEO when they figure that out for themselves.
Yeah, definitely. Lululemon comes to mind as well. And like just the level of research and the hard work that goes into something like that. And then people sort of see it towards the tail end, right? Like, oh, they exited for so much, or now their shares are here and they went public, and they're like, oh, you're so lucky. No, well, I don't have no luck, Luck is good, but it's like opportunity and preparation have to meet like perfectly in order to be luck, right? And you don't just create that out of nothing. It's a lot of hard work. But that's great, Chip. I think that's phenomenal.
Thank you for this conversation.
Please, yes. We know your website. We'll share that. Where else can people reach you? How do you want them to reach out?
BizX.com is my website, my business website, but I also have a personal website, chiphiggins.com. That's where I do a lot of speaking, training, coaching kind of things through that. So please take a look at that. There's on that side, there's actually, that one's done kind of through my publisher. So we have a momentum assessment on there that's free. You can go in, there's 10 questions to kind of size yourself up about where you're hitting and where you're not. So, I mean, if nothing else, do the assessment there. And then I'm on LinkedIn. Just go look for Chip Higgins on LinkedIn, and you'll see the book banner. But definitely, I would encourage people to go on the BizX.com website. If you just look for BizX on Demand, it'll give you a lot more detail about how it's built. Some of these things that we've been talking about small language models and that type of thing. I think I'm with a great company, and it does have that capability of going out and finding things for people that are not necessarily in my book, which is a really powerful thing to think about.
Nice.
Do that, and just feel free to email me anytime. Chip.higgins@bizx.com. I mean, I love interacting with people. And, I've been around business so long. Honestly, I just feel like it's enriching for me to talk to any business owner about where they are.
Yes.
I love it. I feel like I've seen so many different scenarios, and just to bond around what people are going through. I mean, it's good for my spirit to do that. So don't ever hesitate. I'm a very, very reachable person, and
Nice.
glad to respond.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It's been a great time together.